Hey, the holidays are almost here. Where is this Orange County market trending? Well, we're going to tell you that and more because we're also going to be looking at the city of Tustin and their 3 zip codes today. So, welcome to the show. This is Dean Odell with Seven Gables Real Estate and the Odell Group. It is time for a little Orange County / Tustin Talks, and we're going to show you what's going on right now. So, let's head to the first chart. Looking at the first chart, we are following that purple line, and you could see ever since about September, it's been on the same trend line as what 2022 was. If we look at where we are right now, we have 3,516 listings that are currently on the market. That's down from 3,642 weeks ago. And it's way up from last year, almost 40% up, right? 1,000 more homes. Last year we were at 2,496. And then if we look at that 3-year average prior to COVID, 2017 to 2019, we were at 5,822. So still got a long way to get to that point. But really what creates a market is the relationship of listings to demand. So let's look at that right now. Taking a look at the demand over the last 30 days, this is what's in escrow right now. We have 1,458 homes. We're following that purple line just like the last chart. You could see that's down from 2 weeks ago when it was 1,572, but it's up quite a bit, almost 250 sales from last year at 1,223. And you can see the 3-year average is 2,139 prior to COVID, 2017 to 2019. So what I said before is what makes a market is that relationship to supply and demand. So we want to look at that. If you look at where we are right now, we have 2.44 homes for every buyer, 2.44. Last year, we only had 2.04, right? So we have almost another half a house per buyer, if you want to look at it that way. The average, when you look at pre-COVID, was 2.72 homes per buyer. So we're not quite back to the average in terms of the relationship between the amount of homes out there and the amount of buyers going into escrow, but you can see we are trending that way. We're up right now to 2.44 homes per buyer. So let's look at the next chart, which is our expected market time year over year. That tells a story as well. Today we are at 72 days. 2 weeks ago we were at 69, and last year it's 61. You could see the 3-year average prior to COVID was 85. Again, we're moving faster than that 3-year average in the norm. We are slower from last year and 2 weeks ago. And again, we are on the purple line. So if you look at where we are, according to the legend, 60 to 90 days, we are in a slight seller's market. But what you have to do is you have to further break that down into price ranges to see what's going on in your price range and market. And that's what we're going to look at on the next chart. So now we look at the price range and we look at what kind of market are we in for the price ranges, and you can see where the hot sellers market is. It's up to about 1.25 million, right? And you can look all the way down to the bottom and see where the deep buyers market is. It's over 4 million. I always say you could freeze this, take a look at it, look at the percentage of current inventory versus the demand, look at the marketing time for your price range, where we were last year versus this year. You could see in any price range that you look at, the market is slower. Now, this is the time of year, you guys, where we expect things to get slow a little bit. So like when we see something $2 to $4 million go into a slight buyer's market, we don't know if that's going to continue through the spring. I remember last year there was the same situation and all of a sudden the market took off, and it's been doing that for quite a few years. We can't predict the future, but don't get overly optimistic that, there's something in your favor here other than right now at this point in the market, this is where we are. So we have a special chart for you today, and this shows the effects of overpricing and what's going on in the market this October. And what you'll notice is that this has to do with the price of homes. So if you look at the categories on the left, these are the homes that did not have to reduce in price. They constitute and make up 72% of our sales right now, and they are selling at an average of 99.3% of the original asking price, and they're only taking 11 days to sell. So what does that tell us? Well, that tells us that buyers are sitting, they're waiting, and when they get excited about something, they will pounce because these buyers are educated, they've been in the market, they've been watching things for a while. Now we go to the next category, which is when people have to reduce their house 1 to 4%, maybe at the 30-day mark or so, they figure, hey, this thing's not selling, I'm going to drop it a little bit. That makes up 13% of the sales, and you can see ultimately 97.6 of the reduced price is what they're getting, and that on average is 94.8% from where they started, the original price. And that is taking 48 days to happen because, like I said, a lot of people are going to reduce somewhere probably around that 30-day mark, and then shortly after it goes into escrow, right? Now, the people that are really overpricing and have to reduce their asking prices by 5% or more before they get offers, this is only 15% of the market. And you can see the sales to last price ratio, meaning what did this thing close at relative to what it was reduced to? And that is almost at 96%, so 4% off. And then you look at how did that compare with the original list price? Well, that's 86%, and that is taking 59 days to happen. So what people are finding out, and this has always been true of the market, is if you overprice, you're gonna have to reduce. And when you look at maybe what you got in the end, you may have done better had you priced more aggressively to begin with. So I'm gonna talk more about that in the end on my seller's advice. And now we're going to go to the Tustin slide, which you're only going to find here because we track this data for the 3 zip codes of Tustin, and you can see how we're doing October of 24 results versus October of 23 results. And if you look at that, you go down the categories on the left, you can see, everything is up in terms of what's on the market for sale across the 3 zip codes. The only place we're down on new listings, meaning what came on the market in October, was in the North Tustin area, 92705. They were down 15.4%, 92782, same as last year, and 92780, a little bit more, right? So you can go across all these categories and see this and measure it for yourself. You could freeze this, take a look. You're not going to find it anywhere else, but I want to move forward to our seller and buyer advice going into this holiday season. Okay, so I'm going to start with my advice for sellers. Sellers, this time of year, houses do sell, okay, but they do have to be priced right to sell, okay? So now is not the time for overpricing. I know a lot of people like to take their homes off the market during this time of year, and if that's the type of seller you are because you want to enjoy your holidays, I would encourage you to let your agent know that you might entertain a contingent offer over this time period, because a lot of times the people that are moving up and have lower priced homes that are quicker and easier to sell, they can still take advantage of this time of year because there's plenty of buyers in their price range, certainly more buyers than are probably going to be in a price range that's higher than theirs. So think about that. Think about taking a contingent offer, and then maybe you don't have to go back on the market after the first of the year and you'll be able to stay. You can do rent backs. There's all kinds of different ways to structure this, and we could certainly help you with that. Now, buyers, this is a nice time to be a buyer. I personally love to help buyers in the fourth quarter. And I know our team does too, because what you're going to find out is there's less competition. People start to shut it down, right? So you have less inventory too. But if there is a house out there, if the seller is willing, you may have a little bit more negotiating power during this time of year, but stay focused on what the true value of the house is, because it's less likely that you're going to have to run the house up to the highest price ever paid, get in multiple bid situations. That becomes less likely in the fourth quarter, and that's why it's a good time to buy. But don't think you're going to steal a house during this time period. Look at the comps, go through them, and understand whether the pricing is off, on, or where it should be. When you're negotiating on a deal, make sure that you're communicating with your agent why it is that you don't think a property is worth what the seller is asking, because the agent is going to come back and say, this is why we think it is worth what we're asking, or hey, maybe you're a little right, we're a little high, that type of deal, right? But just throwing numbers out and hoping the seller is going to grab them. I mean, sometimes people do that. They want to test the seller, but if the agents are talking, you're going to have a pretty good idea of where the seller's motivation sits on their particular pricing. If they're flexible, if they're rigid, if they've already just reduced the price of their house, don't forget that price reduction that they may have just had on the house is also like you bringing in an offer that was lower, and it's already baked in, right? So focus on what is the value of the house, okay? And sellers, I just want to say one more thing to you. When it comes to pricing a house, because I have people that ask me to come out and tell them what their houses are worth all the time. When it comes to pricing a house, if somebody's telling you the exact price to list your house at, like that, they're not putting enough time and effort into it, okay? It takes, I can tell you right now, when we price a house, we will literally spend a ton of time on it. And we can't really price a house till we see it. So the best we can do really usually is give people a price range that things are gonna be priced in. And quite honestly, we've taken 2 listings this week that won't even be listed till after the first of the year, where we just put price to be determined on the listing, because we're gonna need to fix these properties up and get them ready for the market, paint them, stage them, all that kind of stuff, right? So there's a cue to you too, buyers. We have listings that will be coming on the market. If you're looking for an edge in the market, give us a call. We have 5-6 different agents out there right now that all have knowledge of different things that are going on. We share that information with each other. It's a benefit to you. We know the area. It's very important that you work with someone who knows the area and understands what they're doing. So as always, we hope to see you on the next Tustin Talks, and like or subscribe to this, and we will see you then. Thanks.